That was weird.
Is everybody ready?
I am.
Have we ever gotten feedback before?
No, I thought that was a part of the Banshees track.
How is that happening? I can't even guess. Oh, maybe her headphone was really close to that.
Yeah, the microphone might be a little bit too hot.
A little too hot. Can you say something for me, Andy?
Hello.
Sounds fine. Okay. Welcome to Time Spent Listening.
Good evening and welcome.
We're still playing Dungeons & Dragons here on Time Spent Listening. Last week we had a battle with harpies that explored the borders of patience, and there's still a couple left alive. And
yes.
For the complete synopsis would be that we're a group of adventurers,
tawdry adventurers
that were hired to, it's Dungeons and Dragons. You get it, right?
We're hired to to help some professional adventurers adventure better.
We are going on an adventure.
Yeah.
A quest.
They're low-end subcontractors in the adventuring profession.
Yeah.
Pursuing our lifelong dream of fame, glory, and dragons. I had a faux pas this week. I forgot my little dice sack at home this morning.
Oh.
I left early.
So you can't play?
I can't play. I'm out.
No, you can borrow some of mine.
Not the cursed DM dice.
That actually causes our needles to, the view meter pegs out whenever
You can use my dice, too.
you can use. Actually, I have 2 sets.
Fantastic.
The only thing is, I don't want to use this D20. I like the other one.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we have? 2 or 3 harpies left?
Okay, so a recap of the first approximately 30 seconds of the conflict.
Okay.
That is, last week covered
Yeah,
about
by all means,
45
recap
seconds
it.
to a minute.
Yeah, half an hour later.
Crag sang quite successfully.
Right, Crag, or Danila sang a counter song that made it so that the harpies' sound-based attack didn't charm us.
Yes.
He's a real lifesaver. And I bet he gets a big pat on the back, and I bet everybody treats him a lot more nicely around the campfire tonight.
That's right. Even though I'm a jerk.
That's why we play the game.
Then Leodore cast Magic Missile.
That's me.
And if I recall correctly, you took cover with Russ, Moofy, and Kletchy?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, well, I just retreated toward the rear of the party.
To safety. To relative safety.
That's what wizards do. It's smart.
Yeah, I wasn't being... Yeah.
Turla had one of the harpies that dove down towards her. She brought it down and then killed it. Torum readied his sword, and Trobeck readied his staff. Both of them ended up fighting. Nualan shot with his crossbow. Tola cast Magic Missile and then readied his rapier. And then Lorelarian cast Lightning, Fireball, and Cone of Cold. None of those sounded like lightning. Anyway. Okay. So, we are at 1 round left. 2 harpies continue to tear at one of the mules and its baggage, trying to lift off, but, the mule would have stretched their capacity by itself, and with its heavy load, there's no way they're going to take off the ground. 1 harpy is on the ground, being attacked by Torum and attacking back. And if anyone happens to be listening to this replayed on YouTube or happens to remember last week better than I do, we're just going to assume that these are correct. Even if they don't completely line up with where things left off. 1 harpy is grounded and striking back at Tola, who's attacking it. The harpy that's lashing out at Torum strikes a good, solid blow that skids off his armor. If he was not so well armored, it definitely would have hit him. And the harpy that lashed out at Tola went extremely wide. So, now you guys get to act. So, there are 4 remaining live harpies.
4.
They are now extremely outnumbered. 2 of them are trying to take down the mule. One of them is basically grounded and in combat with Torum. The other one is grounded and in combat with Tola. Tola Aram being your boss, but,
Yeah.
both of them having very impressive swords and being pretty competent fighters.
Yeah. Let's see what the rich kid can do. Anyway.
I'd like to continue.
Yeah,
So,
no.
reciting my poem.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
The next stanza
Of the
is,
counter song.
Shall I tell you the secret, and if I do, will you get me out of this bird suit?
Be great.
Okay. So, what is Turla going to do?
Turla's going to rush over with my axe wielded and start attacking one of the harpies that's trying to get rid of the mule.
Okay, I'm going to say that you'll reach them next round, but that it's a proper charge, so you're going to get bonuses when you reach them.
Okay. Turla is charging.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's Leodor doing? Just
Um,
continuing to take cover?
I'm going to attack with my short bow. I don't know. So 2 of them are attacking. Only one of them is attacking a person, right? One of them is attacking
No,
Tola.
two of them are attacking people, although really it's more like they're being attacked by people at this point.
Yeah. But
Neither of them is going to be able to take off the ground anytime soon. So there's the one that Torum is killing and the one that Tola is killing.
they look fine. They're doing fine.
The fighter and
I'm going to shoot
your
at...
boss.
I guess I'll shoot at the harpy that's furthest away. That's herring the mule.
Okay.
Don't hit the mule, though.
Are you going to
Well, that's why
target the
we
one that's
roll-
already been hit or the
Sure.
one that's uninjured so far?
I'm going to target the one that's already been hit.
Okay.
A 7.
Okay, so their armor class is 13.
7
So-
plus 1. So it's
Okay.
It's a 8.
You don't hit.
Bummer.
You don't hit the mule either, though.
True.
That's good.
So, next, Torum strikes 3 times, totally tearing the harpy apart. He does something like 40 hit points of damage, and, it only had 11.
Ouch.
So, it's gone.
Could you describe what that looks like to us? Like, what is it? Basically, just a bleeding sack at this point.
Well, I'd say one wing is pretty much completely severed. The
This
other
is
wing
a family
broken
show.
in 4 places.
I'd like to know what it means to do 40 damage to something that only has 11. That means
Right.
he killed it,
Fully
then he
30%
kicked on it,
or
spit
30
on it,
points
then
there.
he defecated on it or something.
Yeah.
And
you know?
at full hit points, it would have had 30-some hit points. So it's like half again what it would have taken to kill it.
Well, I guess it's like cutting somebody in half. You know what I mean? You didn't have to cut them all the way in half to kill them.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
You do know that. Yeah.
I've seen that in a bunch of documentaries.
You went to that boys' camp where all those people were massacred.
So do harpies have feathers is what I want to know.
On their wings, yes.
White meat or dark meat?
And their legs, their
Definitely dark.
hawk-like legs also have feathers where they would have feathers. But the
Like little
feet-
pantaloons.
Right.
So there's
Sort of,
probably
yeah.
feathers everywhere.
At least in that case, yes.
So in terms of eating, yeah, you're right. They're both red and dark white meat.
Yeah. You could totally choose. You could probably make a pretty fine sausage out of harpy. Just by mixing the two.
If it weren't for the
Like a turkey sausage where you did, instead of pork, it was human flesh.
if it weren't for the
long pig, as
general
people call it.
if it weren't for the general taboo against eating the meat of something which is at least nominally sentient.
Humans are butchered pretty much the same way as pigs.
I'm
this
not
was a
surprised
family
they're
show.
mammals. but
Yeah, but
that's
we live in an agricultural community. It's like, all right. So, you're still singing, right?
Yeah, I have to keep saying. Well,
He has to keep singing. You probably don't anymore.
poetizing.
I don't think.
So, who was injured?
I was
Not me.
injured.
You were injured?
I'm down
Okay.
to 4 hit points of 11
Why don't you
but
drink
you're-
one of your potions?
because I'm charging.
Okay, you're charging into combat, so... Yeah, Trobeck isn't going to heal anyone quite yet. He's moving towards you, but he sort of, when you charge forward, he sort of stops and waits. Because he's
As long
not...
as he's keeping an eye on me.
Yeah. The healer has noticed that you are injured. Newallen shoots one of the harpies on the mule, shoots at one of the harpies on the mule, but misses. Tola strikes twice, not quite killing the harpy, but it's looking kind of living roadkill-ish. It's sort of curled up and striking out at him with one claw, but it's kind of pitiful. Lorlarian casts Magic Missile. And at his level, that's 5 magic missiles. 3 of them target one harpy on the mule. 2 of them target the other harpy. Pretty hard, but they're both still alive and even airborne, trying to lift off with a mule. But
Don't give up.
the mule is badly injured, but it's not about to die from the injuries that it's taken. The gear on its back is starting to come loose. If the harpies keep at it, they might actually remove the gear from it.
Okay.
And the harpies give one last strong tug on the mule. The gear is, well, it's not off the mule, but it's most of the way off the mule. And the mule is not dead, but it's not standing on its own anymore. But they basically take flight. They've seen what happened to the rest of their flock, and they're not sticking around. The harpy that Tola is beating on manages to actually strike Tola for a little bit of damage. 2 hit points is all, before he just finishes it off. Torum charges after you towards the remaining harpies, speeding their flight even further. And actually, in that case, no, that bit of flavor text doesn't matter because you already basically were a major factor in driving them off. Trobeck goes over and gives some healing magic. Actually, I'm going to go to you guys first before that, so you keep reciting your poetry. Do you?
I suppose so, yeah, sure.
If you'd like.
I'd love to. The next stanza goes, I don't enjoy it here squatting on this island, looking picturesque and mythical.
He doesn't have to keep reading that, though, right? Battle's over?
He doesn't have to. If he wants to, he can.
You guys, are you saying you don't appreciate
No,
the poetry?
just trying to save you the humiliation.
And Andy, what's Turla doing?
Well, I was charging for the harpies. They're gone.
Yeah, are you going to stop charging?
If they're flying away, I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so Trobeck will catch up with you.
Take that, harpies! And I'll wave my axe at them.
And John, what's Leander? Or
Leodor.
Sorry.
God, I am
Yeah.
so done. I can't even. The battle's done, right? They're
Yeah, I guess
fleeing.
you could shoot it.
Could take a shot at one of them.
if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that actually.
Okay.
12 plus 1, 13.
That hits their armor class, and they're not outside of that range yet.
And I was aiming at the one that's taken the most damage.
Okay. So, roll, I believe it's a d6
Oh yeah.
for damage.
Is it D6 plus? Yeah. 6.
Nice.
Awesome.
Didn't die, did it?
Let me check.
Because that would be pretty sweet.
The mighty wizard uses his short bow when his spells have all been exhausted.
Could you use that voice the whole time, please?
I suppose I could. And thus our adventurers ventured deeper into the
Well, you don't have to keep talking. I just mean when you have something to
I
say.
do have something
like,
to say,
just-
Cleodor. I have lots to say.
That would be an amusing character voice. I'm not sure it matches Crag as we've established him, but, you know, when Crag
The hooker with the heart of gold.
eventually disappears in a spell mishap. Trobeck gives some healing magic to Turla.
Oh, good.
You did not take down the harpy, but it's wavering pretty badly
But
in
I
the air.
looked,
It's
I looked
slowing.
cool doing it.
Yeah, it was a very solid hit.
Nice.
Nualan shoots the other harpy for another 4 hit points. And Lorlarian holds with a spell. He's obviously on the edge of casting something. He's got everything prepared. Actually, go ahead and give me a spellcraft check for Leodor.
I rolled a 7 and my got a +8 on that.
Okay. Leodor is readying a fireball spell.
I
Or
what?
not Leodor. Lorlarian.
Oh, Lord Larian. Well, why did you do a spellcraft thing on me?
To see if you recognized what components he was getting ready. Yeah, you're smart.
That is cool.
So, how much healing did I get?
3 hit points.
Better
sound?
than nothing.
You might get some more next round. Once the harpies are far enough away, Lorlarian launches a fireball, doing 34 damage, which one of the harpies, the one that wasn't previously injured, survives. It sort of falls to the earth like a flaming comet. And the other one also falls to earth like a flaming comet, but it isn't even twitching anymore. So,
I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. This is pretty brutal.
I agree.
Maybe we should just go back to the village.
Go check out that art studio we saw.
so what are you guys doing?
How far away is the fallen harpy?
I guess we're
maybe
just
100 feet.
Someone should finish it off.
It looks like Torum is
Is it in
running
within?
towards it.
Was it 60-foot range on my 60-foot range on my short bow? So I'd have to run a little bit. I'm not gonna do it.
Or well, that's before you run into range modifiers.
Oh.
If I'm still being
each
healed,
multiple
I'll
of that
stay put.
range gives you a -1 to hit.
Oh, okay. So I could still take a shot at it. I'd take
Yeah.
another shot at it.
Okay.
Shall I?
Go ahead.
Might as well.
I rolled a 1.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh. That's bad. You might hit one of our
So
party.
you gotta roll again to see if it's a fumble.
Yes.
I don't know. We're not gonna do that every time. Okay.
Roll the d20,
roll a d20
again. If you miss,
20. Boom.
Okay.
The best botch ever.
yes, you do not. You do not get a fumble because you rolled a 1 and then you rolled a success. So good for you. You did not shoot.
Just missed.
You did not shoot Torum the fighter in the back.
I wish I'd rolled that 20 first.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, but if you rolled the 20 first and the 1 second, you would have hit it, but you wouldn't have done a crit.
Still
But I wouldn't have rolled the
better.
20 again.
Well, you would have had to confirm the
I
crit.
would have gotten that 1 next time.
Oh.
Anyway.
When you had to do it to survive.
So I missed it. Anybody else want to take a crack at that?
It narrowly misses Torum and just whizzes past him.
I meant to do that.
Yeah, looking
I have a
good.
sling, but it's only got a 50-foot range, so it probably wouldn't be worth trying to...
Just do it. It's awesome.
No, I
If
don't
you
think-
want to try, you can.
I think it's a 1d4 damage.
Oh,
so
I
it
might
means
as-
It would be 0 if it hit.
We're just hanging out
It is
now,
a
right?
1d4
Like a couple
plus
people have opened
3
beers.
damage, according to this.
Yeah, the stone would basically slow down enough that it just plops.
Oh, right. That was
Unpainful.
because I was... Okay, we'll keep it that way.
I'd like to
So-
examine one of the dead bodies to see. I don't know. Do harpies have any items?
They have a little pouch on their naked waist.
Not on them. And no, not
And
on
then-
them.
Okay.
Inside,
They
them?
don't have... Well,
It's like when you don't have hands,
I'd like
pockets
to-
don't
I'd
do
like
Tola
anything.
obviously is about to give some orders, but he's holding off until he sees what happens with Torum running out to take care of the last
I'd like
harpy.
to pluck a feather for my memories.
Good job.
Easily enough done.
Put it in my little special
I was
pouch.
wondering if the feathers were good for anything.
Did you just roll a 20 with your sling?
No, I didn't roll.
Oh. Are you gonna?
Nah. I'm probably getting healed, so
Okay.
I don't think I could do both at the same time.
All right, battle's over. Scene ends.
Yeah, Torum is able to just basically...
I love the doink doink.
Anyway.
Torum is able to just run over and basically stab it solidly.
Big deal. Anybody
Basically
can
a
do
coup de grace.
Well, that was different than fighting squirrels, right?
that. Yeah. It was easier. I didn't get hurt.
So, first, something I'm going to cover that's sort of a digression, but important.
Sounds like fun.
You guys have enough hit points to enough experience points to level up
Hooray.
to second
Do it.
level. You guys, however, will need to train to level up to second level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that if you are amenable, that your traveling compatriots are going to give you some tips and pointers, and that in the evenings and your off time during the journey, you guys are going to be sort of practicing and working on your skills.
Lifting rocks. Yeah.
Check.
That way, probably by about the time you guys are ready for the return trip, you'll be ready to level up, and on the return trip to town, you guys will be second level.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Sounds good.
So, in the aftermath,
By the way, I should mention that the poem I read was by Margaret Atwood called Siren Song. If anyone is interested, look it up.
Oh, I thought she wrote that.
No.
Why did she write a poem? Did she just do Dungeons and Dragons poetry, or why? She wrote
Yeah,
one.
she got into it later in her life, yeah.
That's cool. What's
that-
next? We just put our
Well,
things back together,
always
make
a
sure the
hobby,
meal's okay.
apparently, but-
Trobeck goes around and casts healing magic. I mean, he's a high enough level cleric that he's easily got enough spells for the cuts and bruises that people have at this point.
Yeah.
He sinks a fair amount into the mule. He wasn't going to, but Tola insisted for obvious reasons, because, you don't want your mule dying on you with your supplies. And he also has Lolarian casting some mending spells on the damaged gear. Do you happen to have mending among your memorized spells?
No. You kidding me?
Okay.
Certainly don't have it memorized. When we do memorize next, I want to switch a spell around. I want to have shield instead of alarm.
Oh, okay.
I thought I did. We don't need alarm anymore. We got all these people stand and watch anyway. Plus, I got my snake.
So can I be assumed I'm back up to full hit points?
Yes, you can assume that you're back up to full hit points because you are. So it's not really an assumption. Now is it?
Well, it was until you told me.
Yes. Is this your first fight?
No, it's her second fight.
All right. Did we rest, or that's just from healing?
That's from the magic healing.
That's just from the magic healing.
I don't remember what time of day it is.
Mid-morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 10:30, 11ish. So Tola Aram is looking over the harpies, and he's directing the three of you to go around to the harpies and to cut off their claws and to pluck their flight feathers.
Spell components?
Yeah, well, they're not for any common spells, but he knows that there is some demand for enchanting items for the harpy's claws and harpy's feathers.
I'm gonna do it a little grudgingly because, like, I realize someone has to do it, and we got hired to do but we killed almost as many harpies as the other guys, right? Didn't we?
The wizard killed all of them, most of them.
Yeah, but I killed we killed some.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying we're pulling our weight. But
Oh yeah, but he's got other people like healing donkeys or healing mules and
sure.
magically repairing
Whatever, boss.
foreign equipment.
Sure.
I'll do it.
I think I would also I feel like I don't want to fully roleplay this, but I feel like one of us would just throw like a fit and be like, why? Not about that, but just like.
Well, there's other passive-aggressive ways you could do it. You could just do a really bad job.
Just because we're not cool, just because we're not experienced. It's like when you go camping with somebody who doesn't camp a lot,
Yeah.
and they just start to cry. All right, so we'll butcher the harpies.
And Tola's saying, okay, so everyone keep one eye out in case there's any more.
Mm-hmm.
I know that their colonies are larger than this typically. Although I think sometimes they're this small.
Should we go raid their nest?
I was thinking about that. We should probably start a
Nest raid.
spiral search grid around here to try and track them down.
Doesn't sound time consuming.
And
But we saw the direction they came from too, or rather, Turla did. Let me point that out too. He did the counter song. Turla gave us initiative. I'm just saying, we were like MVPs. If 3 people can be MVP.
Nualan Kurid says, well, do you know how large of a territory flying creatures like harpies have? And Tola's like...
Is she being sarcastic?
No, he's not being sarcastic.
Right.
He's just...
Sounds
How many days is it going to take?
not specifically.
Well, it might be on
And-
a high peak or something.
Wasn't
too,
Tola Arms was saying he was saying
Tola-
we weren't the one talking about any spiral search patterns, that's for sure.
No, Tola was the one that was talking about a spiral search pattern.
I see. So
And
Make you dizzy after a while. Spiral search pattern.
Nualan says,
So,
well,
circle and circle and circle.
I don't know either, but it's got to be really large. And with that large of a territory, there's no way we're going to find their nest. It's not like we
sounds
can.
like a challenge.
It's
Let's
not
do
like
it.
we can track their trail on the ground back to their nest.
It's too bad we didn't leave one alive. For questioning. All right, let's. I mean, I'm not. We're not in charge anymore, so it's kind of like, okay, well, should we keep going?
So, yeah, it doesn't take you guys very long to collect the harpy claws and the feathers. And it does seem like everyone is at least doing something.
I am going to keep a few feathers for myself.
I'm not.
Souvenir.
So you guys continue the rest of that day. It's only like an extra 40 minutes onto your trip. The whole stopping, fighting harpies, recovering, and continuing on.
We're not going to stop again.
High-fiving. Over and over again. High-tenning, low-fiving.
So the
Fist
second
bumping.
night, you guys stay in one of the valleys between the hills. It has some poor forage, but good enough for the mules to eat something other than just the chestnut feed that they've been carrying with them. Which is good because listening to the plans of everyone, you guys have enough food and food and beer for you guys, food and small beer for the humans and elves and dwarves and such, but not for the mules. You couldn't carry enough water and feed for the mules for the entire trip.
What was the plan there?
To forage as you
Okay.
went along and to gather more water. And there are ponds and lakes out here. They're just not very good.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, if they get sick later on, like in a couple of months, the extra hazard pay on the mule rental was sufficient, but that doesn't really matter.
Sure.
So, the second night, you guys bed down like you did the first night.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of did a formalized standard night rotation just for all of the nights. So first shift is standing guard is Lorelarian, Crag, and then Tola Aram pulls a half shift. He stays up for the first half of that shift and then goes to bed. And he wakes up earlier than everyone else as well. He just sort of shifts things a little bit that way.
Maybe it's his beauty rest.
Well, he's getting as much sleep as everyone else. He's just...
Early to bed, early to rise.
He's working sort of as an overlap shift.
So beautiful.
Second shift is Kletchy, Torum, and Turla.
Okay.
The three people that can split their night's sleep comfortably because they don't have to memorize spells.
Gotcha.
Everyone else is, well, all of the other adventurers are spellcasters. Obviously, Russ and New Allen aren't spellcasters, but... and spellcasters, to recover their spells and rememorize and whatnot, need a good night's sleep.
Right.
So, in the third shift is Trobeck, Tola, for half of it, and Leodore. And New Allen and Russ also get up at that point and start taking care of the mules. And Russ, after he takes care of Moofy and helps a little bit with the other mules, starts cooking a breakfast. Well, cooking may be a generous term.
I thought he was a good cook.
Yes, but you guys don't really have that much in the way of resources, and you don't have enough firewood come morning to really do much in the way of cooking.
I see.
Firewood is at a premium as well.
Well, we are carrying a 10-foot pole we can burn. Better keep the pole. You never know.
So, that night went without any real incident. You guys start off on day 3 of your journey. Around 1 in the afternoon. Everyone roll me a spot check.
So that's a 9.
10.
4.
Okay, my generic NPC
12.
spot check was a 20. So, one of them is going to spot it first.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's Kletchy that points out, what's that up there? And once he points it out, some of you can see it better than others. But it's this tan brown lump off. Well, there's not really a proper path through here, but off to the side of where you would be headed, slightly to the left. It's, as you get closer, it's like 12 feet long. It's roughly cylindrical, about 3 to 4 feet across.
It's lying down.
Yeah.
Should we send Russ over to look at it? Just kidding.
Like a half pipe.
Yeah, awesome.
So why don't you all
Gnarly.
give me...
Bogus.
well, none of you have wilderness lore, do you? As I recall.
No.
Everyone give me an intelligence check.
Yeah.
0.
You have
Oh
it?
dear.
Plus 0 I have, but I do not have it. But I have wilderness lore as a skill, just I don't have any advantage.
What do you want us to
for it.
do?
Okay,
What?
you haven't trained in it, though.
Intelligence
Correct.
check.
I'm just trying to roll less than my
Oh,
intelligence.
the GM's dice is not.
No, you want to roll your roll the die, and then add your
Ooh.
intelligence bonus.
I have an 18 with a -2 intelligence, so I rolled a 16.
Yeah, I have a 5. All combined.
It's 11 with a Well, what's my intelligence bonus? That's under my modifier? there?
Plus 1.
Yeah.
Ability modifier.
Plus 2.
So 13.
So 13.
Okay, you got a 13. What did Turla get?
I rolled an 18, but I have a -2 intelligence modifier, so a 16.
So you broke
still isn't
15,
bad.
which was what I was looking for. This looks like an owl pellet.
How big is it?
12 feet by 4.
A 12-foot owl pellet? Ugh,
Let's hack it open.
that's terrifying.
Yeah, there's got to be some
And we should totally hack it open.
adventures in
Human bones.
there.
Maybe they still got their armor on.
Scrumptious.
Okay, you do notice that everyone around you, as you guys get closer to it, everyone who has realized so far what it is getting really nervous and looking around.
Yeah, me included, for sure.
I mean, it could be
What
miles away. You know,
is
it's a pellet. They
Yeah.
hacked us up. But I'm only 4 feet
I'm
tall. There could
scanning
be
the
three-
sky and...
There's no
dwarves.
trees around, right? There's no
We're
cover.
in a plane.
No.
The blasted plane.
Newallen says, looks like a pellet. Like a
How come I
owl
keep? How come I can hear birds singing? At least I thought I could.
Nope, you can't hear
You
birds
must be
singing.
hallucinating.
Scraggly sort of plane. There's some fierce birds. That sounds like a beehive.
I should be playing the Banshee track.
Well, I think we should poke at it with the 10-foot pole. Break it open.
Well,
Yeah, we really ought to investigate this thing, whether or not this giant owl thing's flying around, right?
What should we do, boss?
Tola draws his rapier and just basically slices it in half.
Attaboy.
Well, that works.
Lengthwise or widthwise?
Along the long end. And he doesn't slice it all the way down, but he slices enough so that you guys can basically...
I rush in like it's a pinata.
Okay, it didn't,
Oh, my lucky
it
day.
didn't stink on the outside.
Oh, okay. Did stuff like just come out of it immediately?
Leodor jumps headfirst into the pool.
The stench does, but everything is fairly
Dry.
desiccated.
Yeah.
Is that?
What's it
Just
look
not
like?
so desiccated that it doesn't stink when you get inside. Well, you see, that looks like a bit of skull. Oh yeah, that's definitely a skull. It looks like maybe a orc, maybe. And there's a bit of
I hate
antler. It's hard to tell what everything is because it looks like something's eaten maybe the equivalent weight of like 3 to 5 cows of various animals and taken the hair and the bones and all the non-readily digestible bits and hacked them up.
Are we talking like beefers or Jersey milk cows? Because there's a big weight difference. A beefer is like 800 pounds.
All right.
A Jersey milk cow's 400 pounds.
This guy.
We're looking at about halfway in between.
Okay, so about
Almost a difference?
almost a ton.
Almost a ton.
Maybe more than a
of-
ton.
When they were whole, they probably weighed close to a ton.
Are there any magic does that guy have any sort of spell that would like some sort of illusion that would make us harder to see or is there some way that we could make ourselves less apparent to
Not anything that would have a long enough duration.
So
What
we probably
sort
don't.
of creature could produce this?
Yeah. Can we do an intelligence does anybody know what this thing is?
No, everyone's basically conjecturing about it. There's a general agreement among everyone that's chatting about the fact that dragons don't
Do that.
do that.
Right.
They're pretty sure there might be other dragon kin or something that do that.
Right.
Rocks sometimes, some like types of rocks might do that, but
Right.
rocks don't tend to be found out here.
Right.
Oh boy. You
That
guys
would be
think this,
ROC rock, not ROCK
Right.
rock.
you guys think this thing is nocturnal, diurnal, or is it active in the day?
Well, if it's anything like an owl, I would think we should look out for it at night.
Yeah.
It's
good thinking.
I'm gonna hug the ground tonight.
I'm gonna hug the ground.
So
A small dwarf who won't see me. Tuck myself under a boulder, a little rock.
So we hit the trail again.
They managed to find a coin purse inside it.
Anything in there?
Oh, yeah. Some badly
Coins.
corroded coppers. A couple gold pieces. Not much, but something. Gets
Back in town,
tossed into the party coffers.
I was told there's dragons out here.
Probably are.
Well, why are we dragging on in this location? Why don't
Yeah.
we keep moving?
Let's keep moving.
So the party continues on. That night, you guys set up camp in a valley by a lakeside. Gives you guys a chance to refill the
Oh, good.
water barrels.
Potable water.
Are we aware of
Potable enough.
germ theory? Do we boil the water?
I don't care if there might not be germs in this world. You know, look at it that way. It might work differently.
I'm going to say nominally.
Yeah.
Well, that's more wilderness lore, which none of us have.
Well, I mean, the general wisdom of clean water. And, you know, the way I
Just
figure
survival
elves and dwarves live long enough that they probably would have... Elves probably firmly know, yes, there's tiny creatures living in water that cause some diseases. Not all diseases.
I knew that.
And I
Roll an
figured
intelligence check
that
for me, see
information
if
would
you know
not
that.
be
You grew up in a sheltered
necessarily
environment.
exclusive.
I got mono last summer, so
So, you guys, the party refills the water barrels in the
great.
lake. And the mules are
Happy.
untethered a bit so that they can go down and...
There's nothing
drink
growing
some
around
water.
this lake. There's no.
There is some lake forage by the lake.
Right.
And in fact, it's a bit nicer than some of the stuff they've been foraging on. It's reeds.
And maybe we can have some fire.
They're kind of stunted, but... Yeah, actually, you can find some driftwood.
Great.
How big is this lake? Like big enough to have fish in it and stuff?
Yeah, maybe, but it's not a healthy looking lake.
Yeah.
It has some reeds in the shallows. There's some. You can see the occasional tree around the edge.
Any frogs?
You don't see any frogs.
Indicator species.
Anything that looks like an enormous nest?
No.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Nest of
Good
what?
question.
What kind of nest were you looking for?
Giant nest.
Anything
You
that
already said
might
no, so.
choke up pellets.
Nope.
Oh, good.
Unless the whole lake is a nest.
I don't know what an owl nest looks like.
Blow in my mind. Huh.
Okay.
This looks like a good place to stop.
Should we
No, I mean...
take a
camp.
nap?
For the
Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is where you're encamping. So, you guys in camp, everything's going well. Just at about dusk, you guys hear a huge splashing and sort of a crashing noise. And when everyone goes to look, one of the mules is gone.
Yikes.
Like gone?
Yeah, it looks like a section of the lake, the section of the shoreline just sort of fell into the lake, taking the mule with it.
Oh, gosh.
Is the mule on the surface, or is the mule just invisible?
You don't see the mule, but, you know, there's this sort of roiling and churning mud on the edge, so...
Is that something alive that's doing that, or is it just the banks are collapsing?
The other mules have just run away from the lake's front.
But all the equipment was off the mule for the night,
Yep.
right?
Which mule? Not Moofy?
Not Moofy. One of the other mules.
Oh, thank God.
So you're down one mule, but it's not Moofy that's gone.
But there's something in the lake.
Or the lake shore is just unstable.
Maybe we should move a little further away from the lake.
I'm going to find a stone or something and chuck it into the lake.
I'm gonna detect
From a distance.
I think I'm
Good
gonna
idea,
try to
Trilla.
detect magic. I'm gonna cast my detect magic song.
Well, now hold on. Let's try Turla's idea first. She's going to throw a rock into the lake.
Yeah, that's something Turla would do.
It's a long shot, but you never know.
Okay, nothing happens. Well, I mean, no, the rock goes flying out towards the lake, and it strikes the water, breaking the surface tension, and disappearing.
Wow.
Wow. It's pretty cool.
Bet you never saw that before.
Amazing.
So,
The excitement of Dungeons and Dragons, everybody.
Loss of surface tension.
yeah, so we're not going to camp next to the lake anymore.
Not right next to the lake.
So I guess I gotta think of a
Here he goes.
poem to do.
Detect magic, huh?
Is this magic I behold? What will now begin to unfold? Open up so I can see. Show the magic to me.
Very nice.
A 17.
Was that another Margaret Atwood?
Yeah, actually, that was or some of her earlier work.
Yeah.
Okay, just a moment while I...
That's pretty good roll.
Plus 4.
Plus
for
4.
Poetry. So, but I get some negatives for.
No.
Well, that's not the problem. The problem is that you get to make a roll checking for spell mishap.
Every time, even if he rolls good?
Yep.
Poor guy. How does he roll that? Is that a D20?
Just a moment.
Okay.
So the background of my character is
It's going to be a percentile roll.
I'm a magic user, but with very low charisma, so all my
Right.
spells can have mishaps. For the listeners listening at home. By the way, this is time spent listening.
Yeah. On WR5.
You just tuned in.
Watkins
You've been riveted
Glen.
for the last 45 minutes, but we haven't.
I can't wait till this show's over because I found a tick on my back about halfway through. And it's like, once you realize the guy's there.
Is that true?
Yes.
A deer tick or a dog tick?
Of course, it's a deer tick.
Okay.
I've never had a dog tick on me. I don't think they exist.
Definitely don't.
Okay,
So you haven't seen it with your eyes.
I have a friend who doesn't believe Lyme disease exists, so it's just a matter, you just shouldn't say that to the wrong person, I guess. Very similar to how I don't believe peanut allergies exist. It's like, just as long as I stay away from people that actually have peanut allergies, I should be okay.
So, roll me a percentile and subtract 1.
44 total.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
But I rolled so well. I got a 21.
I know, right? What's the story?
Okay.
If he's gonna cast any more spells, we gotta streamline this process.
Yes.
Withering look from the dungeon master.
No, knowing look from the Dungeon Master thinking,
okay.
I really need to print this chart up. I thought I already had. So, it actually, it goes okay, but you put more energy into it than you mean to.
Uh-oh.
So, the spell effect is at plus 75%, so basically you just get an unusually long duration. And you manage to keep control of it. It doesn't surge in any way. It sort of burns a little bit, but you don't take any damage. It's like hard
We've
to
all
keep
been
control.
there.
Just singes the hairs in the backs of my palms.
Yeah. So,
Which are kind of important. I mean, they keep me warm at night.
but more or less, spell goes fine.
Does it detect any magic?
You detect magic around you. Most of it's on the people near you.
Oh yeah, that belt.
The belt is glowing brightly.
Nice.
A bunch of other equipment that people have is glowing brightly, but the lake is not glowing brightly.
Okay. Just a run-of-the-mill creature.
Or just the shoreline's unstable.
What?
Unlikely.
Yeah. It's true, though. If there's not enough... anyway.
Do we still have that squirrel carcass?
Oh, yeah.
Good question.
We've got squirrel meat that we probably don't need to eat.
At this point, it's probably not good to eat.
No,
necessarily.
Russ salted it.
salted it
Oh,
for
that's
you.
right.
He does what we tell him to. Yeah, we could try to appease it. It just ate a mule, though. Why would we throw it a
It wouldn't
squirrel?
be appeasing. It would be baiting it to see if the
I
shoreline
see.
collapses. Right?
I see.
Put
Yeah,
a giant,
baiting it to
make,
get
make a
its
giant
house
hook.
so that we
Fine,
can kill
collapses.
it.
Just make a giant hook. out of
Yeah,
some
we should
reeds.
tell the rest of the party what our plan is, so that they can ready their ranged weapons and spells, and then we'll throw the squirrel meat down there and see if we can lure it onto the shoreline. Although I have to say, even creatures that eat mules, usually take some time to, you know what I mean? You grab a mule, and you're probably good for a while, right? That's a meal, no matter
Unless
how big
this
you
is
are.
the creature that ate 4 cows.
Right. But it doesn't mean it ate them all at once.
And it's amphibious.
Certainly wouldn't eat it all
I
at once.
suppose.
Taken a few days.
And there's still the question of what kind of cows those were, which Daniela raised a really good point there. Crag, sorry. Still not sure why Crag knows so much about dairy production and
bovine agriculture.
Bovine agriculture. All right, so do you guys want to try that plan? Or we could just go back to sleep further away.
Yeah, whatever.
We should probably see what
I'd
this
like
thing is.
to know what's in the lake before we
Let's
try
do
and
it.
rest near it.
Let's do it.
So
Does the rest of the actual party
So
agree with this
What
plan?
would be comical?
they're okay with it. I mean, it's evening. They're kind of nervous. Tola's completely tolerant of your concerns because he's also concerned. If you guys don't turn up anything, he's just going to have people bed down. But, the guards are going to keep a special eye in the direction of the lake.
Right.
So I think it would be comical.
You know what, actually, instead of the squirrel meat, don't we have a bunch of supplies that we'll no longer be able to carry? That were on the mule? Like, what was that mule carrying?
Well, we'll have to double up, possibly, or carry stuff ourselves
Right.
if it's important supplies.
They're probably going to divide things between the mules.
I just mean if there's anything we had to leave behind, that might even be more enticing, but anyway.
Should we do
Squirrel
something
meat's pretty
comical like tie the squirrel meat to a rope and tie the rope around someone's waist? Just... 'cause
Yeah.
That would be funny.
good. Yeah. Or,
no.
Seeing Russ getting, jerked in the lake. No, I guess that's not that funny.
or Total Recall it, get a rat to eat the squirrel meat, and then anyway. Okay. No, we could just throw it down by the shoreline once everybody's ready.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys wait, and it gets darker, and the sun sets totally completely, night comes on, still nothing. Finally Tola says, well, anyone who's not got first shift and wants to bed down, you're welcome to.
I guess I'll just stroll down and pick up that squirrel meat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
No. So, yeah, the watches of the night, occasionally people hear, splashing,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing really happens. Nothing is seen, nothing comes out of the lake.
One of those high-level fighters should have dove into the water, I have to say. I would if I were them.
That's why you're a first-level sorcerer,
I'm just
or first-level wizard, and they're alive to be high-level fighters.
Just like a sword in their hands kind of into the lake. Yeah.
I'll admit I thought about it.
And so when
You're drunk. Go home.
when the sun starts to rise, you guys can see on the shore of the lake bones.
Right. So it's a different giant creature, most likely.
Yeah, it's not hacking up like
Yeah.
owl pellets, but
Is it just a mule's worth of bones?
about a mule's worth of bones, you think?
Yeah.
Not
With
quite a
some
full
squirrel
mule's
mixed in
worth.
there?
But
And what happened to the squirrel meat? Is it gone?
the squirrel meat's gone.
One of us should get the jawbone of that mule. It's a good weapon. Isn't that what Samson used to lay waste? Jawbone of an ass. Probably does about 1d6.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to leave off.
Yeah, that's a good show. Thank you for joining us for the time spent listening Dungeons & Dragons edition, right here on WRFI, Watkins Glen, Ithaca, your community radio station, where you hear Dungeons & Dragons live every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Stay tuned. Coming up is Conference of the Birds. And do join us next week. Stephen Cope is coming up next for the next few hours. So enjoy that program and keep listening.